NCRP Productions presents Torg Eternity by Ulisses Spiele. The Breifne Crown. Character Generation.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Greg, and welcome to a Sunday of Possibility. We are running Torg. This is going to be a multi-cosm campaign, and hopefully we'll introduce you, the listeners, to the other role-playing game that seems to be catching momentum. I'd like to introduce my players, starting off to my left.
I'm Victoria.
I'm Shan.
Hey, it's Barry.
I'm also Victoria.
I'm David.
So for the Victoria thing, are we going to do Tori and Victoria? Tori and Vic? How do we want to do this, ladies?
I'll go with Tori.
Okay.
All right,
Make
so
these
Tori
easier.
and
Do you
Victoria?
also use Tori?
No, I generally just Victoria.
All right, so Tori and Victoria.
Except
Take it away,
me,
Greg.
Except me, I throw out a Vic probably 90% of the time.
Yes.
We could do thing one and thing two.
Big Greg.
There you go.
So what this first session is ultimately going to be just kind of a discussion and looking into the mechanics, some of the history, and hopefully some of the interplay between the cosms of how we can actually make a multi-cosm campaign work. Be patient with us. We will be having discussion, and hopefully through the discourse of our discussions, you might be able to pick up some tips for your own game.
I have been considering an elf from the Isle.
There's an elf in this stuff.
So, Greg, Isle looks like it butts up directly against Tharkold.
Yes, it
Which was kind of interesting as far as if we needed to create character connections.
So, Barry, do you have your main core book where we can... I forgot to bring the map.
Not easily, but I can go get it.
Can I help?
Yes, you can. Give me a second to get out of this damn chair.
Or not the core book, I'm sorry, the main map from the...
Oh.
The part that has the big map on
Yeah,
I love
because
that.
that
But
might help.
it was a separate map.
It was a
right?
separate map in the...
It was kind of cool that it came together.
Or Ursh is like trying to say the word rural.
It's like horror with an SH on the end. Because like I was spelling, I'm like, oh, it's just like horror without the H in the
There's a
front.
monster hunter.
I'm going to play a Salem chaplain.
I mean,
Basically a priest.
like when I was looking in it, it
Fire and
didn't seem
brimstone.
too complicated. Like it was like the characters were already pre-made in the book, and it's just like your strength is this, your
Right.
skills are this.
There was like a array of numbers that you were allowed to pick, like from 13 to 8 or something like that, depending on what your area was about. Let me try to find where I saw that.
There's also a dragon warrior that's a dwarf from Isle. I played this character the first time. It was a pre me getting this job, and then Greg assigned me this one. I think, Dave, if you're gonna do something else, I might go cyber papacy.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do the chaplain.
So
This-
yeah, you're...
this-
Oh, no, never
Cyber
mind.
Paper is
Go ahead.
badass.
In this one, the cyber witch, the equipment is sunglasses, Axiom 20, notes, stylish.
Stylish. This is a perk? Stylish?
No, it just says notes in the equipment
Oh.
section.
So it says starting attributes. Starting characters have 40 attribute points to assign to charisma, dexterity, mind, spirit, and strength. The minimum value for any attribute is 5, and the maximum for humans is 13. Maximum values for other races are listed in their description. So I think, like, I don't know how you pick, if you like...
Here's another core rule book or something.
Yeah, I should have brought mine, but I
Yes, you
like
should have.
well, I have it in my phone. I just don't have my
Physical copy of the
physical
table is
copy
always better.
that I can pass around.
So let's see. So
Here's some
building the
details.
characters inside the core book here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're not playing day one. We will be playing...
Are there two maps?
Yeah, one's a day one map.
So all of the invasions, they happened at the same time, right?
Yes.
That's why they call it day one. Yes.
That's cool.
So, like I was just saying, there's a starting attributes. You have starting characters have 40 attribute points to assign to charisma, dexterity, mind, spirit, and strength. Minimum value for any attribute is 5, and the maximum for humans is 13. Maximum values for other races are listed in their description. So you have basically a point buy system, it seems like, for creating your attributes.
Right. I forget what the exact starting amount is. I think it's 40?
Yeah, it says 40.
So, Greg, you and I were talking about the demons, and if I've read it right, there is a demon that I can run. There's the aspirant.
Yes. So the aspirant is basically a lesser demon that player characters can run.
Do you not want me to? I'm good with no. We had talked about it. You said there wasn't one. I was like, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, oh, wow, there is.
Yeah, in the Tharkold Cosm book, there's the the mechanics to play it, but it just doesn't fit because we're going multi-cosm. It's going to be difficult to try to hide a demon into other cosms.
And then I haven't really looked at it enough. I only got part way into it. Other things happen, but do you want me to play either the race or
The thralls?
Well, I don't know if they're thralls. There is the aspirants, there's the race, and then there's Core Earth, and Core Earth has abomination perks.
So I think
Do you have a
with...
blank character sheet by chance?
Oh, shit.
Or I could just use a piece of paper.
I didn't... No,
You
I
didn't do character sheets?
Maybe I did. I thought I did, but I guess I didn't put them in my stuff.
All right, I got a whole thing of
I
paper.
am so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
You have to go back home and get it now.
You know, like this. Well, I had to drive down to Petaluma for an appointment with my back. Got turned around between Willits and Laytonville
Because of the snow.
Because of the snow. Stayed down in Ukiah. Had to jump on a meeting with. And so at 11, did that. Left at noon. Tried to drive back home. They turned me around again north of Willits. So I drive down. Go on 20 onto 295 up to 299, and I didn't get home till about 7:30 on Friday night. Yesterday, I just kind of picked up the house, did laundry, recovered, took care of, and then this morning was trying to put stuff all together, and so I apologize.
I don't know about anybody else, but this whole week felt like a different. Like,
With the snow?
it was just wild.
Yeah.
Like it's all warm outside and it's gone now, but we just like trying to drive to work from McKinleyville to Klamath. It was like a blizzard.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. You go over some of
The
going
bypass?
south.
Yeah,
There were
like
some of them were black ice.
Yeah, I was driving like 40 miles an hour with my 4-wheel drive on because
There were no planes before I think it was 1 o'clock landing because the whole runway was black ice. One of our guys is a pilot in the Fortuna one. He literally skated on. That was Ty. Literally skated on from one end to the other.
Yeah, driving in on Thursday, like Lolita to CR the highway was completely covered in snow, and I'm from Massachusetts, so I'm like okay with driving in snow, but I was also in a 2-wheel
Front wheel drive.
and everybody else is driving like 20 miles an hour, and I'm like, I can drive a little faster than this.
this was me trying to go to work.
Yeah,
Like it was just
that's how it looked in Lolita too,
Crazy.
or near Lolita.
I was talking to family in SoCal down by San Diego, and
They were snowing too.
they still have snow today.
Wow,
Yeah.
really? Okay.
that's wild.
That is crazy.
Is it just me, or has this whole winter been wild in
Yeah,
general?
the
Like,
last
we had
6
the
months, yeah.
massive earthquake
Yeah,
that shut down the entire county's power.
Which
right.
was the exact same day as the year prior.
Yeah.
like,
But that one nobody felt because it was like far enough out or something like
it
that.
jiggled a little, but that was about it. Like this last one was violent, and then it dumped rain for like 2 weeks straight.
Right.
Well, like with this earthquake, we've had earthquakes of higher magnitude, but it wasn't that violent.
But the epicenter was out in the ocean, like I don't know,
Or they were deeper in the water.
2008.
Yeah, 2010.
That was when I moved here, it was 2007. In 2008, there was like a 7.1, and it was way out in the ocean, so like it rocked, but
Right.
like we didn't have a disaster.
They've got like strength levels as well as like the magnitude levels, and the one from 2010 that was like a 6.5 was like a level 3 of strength, and then this one was a 6.4 but was like a level 5 of strength. So it was like way stronger.
Barry and Dave, you guys remember the '92 earthquakes, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
That's
We
in SoCal
we was
right now.
that what was the
Where is-
convention
Oh, no,
that used
92 I
to?
was in Germany.
Just
Yeah, I
outside
missed those.
Temecula.
But I remember
Also, like,
reading about stuff. There
hour
were a
and a
bunch of
half
houses and
northeast
stuff
of
that were
San Diego.
damaged in town,
Yeah.
and Fortuna was trashed and all that, yeah.
Ferndale
They
was
got
trash.
more
What
swarming,
Ferndale?
too.
What was that up at Humboldt State that used to be a gaming convention up there?
Gamers Guild.
Arcadicon.
Arcadicon.
Yep.
So, and I were.
Yep.
We stopped and got something to eat from that first one. We were on our way up to Arcadicon to go play.
Yeah. In the bathroom at NCRP on E Street when that hit.
Who's-
one of the gamers? Someone I went to school with.
Okay, I don't.
The physical room was just bigger than the width of the toilet. My size, only heavier. And so he just literally watched this 20-foot high ceiling rock back and forth as he sat on the toilet because it wasn't going to go anywhere.
As he
It
sloshed.
didn't literally scare the shit out of him, sadly. So, but yeah, no, that was crazy.
Okay, so anyway, sorry about that. Anyway, character sheets. I apologize. I didn't print any out. We can down. You have a printer, Bear? I mean, we can
Yeah.
we could download them. I mean, I don't want to get you up and down more with your screwy bat, but we can print them
Well, you can fill them out on here, and then you bring them next year. Next week.
next year.
Next year.
Feels
It's
like
gonna be a
next year.
very long time.
Be a long game.
So, any questions on the cosms with your priest?
Chaplain.
With the chaplain, one of the things that I just wanted to discuss is reading in the book. It talks about sin is not tolerated. I mean, like gameplay. How do you intend to like play that?
When we say sin is not tolerated, in which like how are they referenced? Like
So-
their outlook of their priesthood within the priesthood or outside?
So my understanding when I'm reading about how the religion is instead of sin being forgiven and learned from, the perception is the pain that and the bad things that happen is punishment for your sin. So you don't sin to draw down the punishment.
Right.
And then like the chaplains of the order, they're the ones who are trying to fight the monsters that Orosh is bringing. And so, which, fits definitely within the hero part of it. But when it talks about like, the religions being, sin is not tolerated, as a chaplain of that, I mean, how are you going to play that?
I don't know.
Just like
Think
for
about
game
it,
continuity.
Yeah. I mean,
Or party continuity.
I would think that probably keep it as his own personal guideline. I don't know, I'm gonna reread it and see how it fits out. So when it says minimum value for any attributes 5, do we start with 5 for free, or is that 5 out of the 40 points?
5 out of the 40.
Okay, so
So you can't start a character with 4.
And you can't go higher than 13.
25 out of your 40 points is 5s and everything.
Correct.
So you really only have 15 points to distribute. So we're all gonna have like 7s and 8s basically.
And well, that's so that's like
Okay.
starting character.
Yeah,
I mean, you can go
won't-
you will not be able to recreate Ko.
Oh, the guy I played.
Yeah,
the one-
you
oh.
will not be able to recreate him.
Okay, so maximum of 13. Okay.
And I guess, and just the reason why like asking questions is Torg. You can play a full campaign within a cosm, but we're going to go through all the cosms. So that's why I just want to make sure that the party is comprised of something that's going to be able to fit within all cosms. So like if we were going to play Tharcold, it would be very easy for you to play an aspirant, right? But since we're going to be visiting other cosms, it may not work as well. I mean, I'm bummed about saying that because I want people to play what they want to play, but I also need to make sure that it all fits too.
So the way that I was reading it also is you get to pick 2 perks
Yes.
out of the list of things that go with either your race or the like overall perks that everybody has options to.
And as players, I'm going to grant you all the perk of share possibility. When we were doing day 1, it was a lot of fun when players were able to give their possibility energy to other players. So to me, that makes sense, back into the original game.
Yeah.
But in order to do that, you have to have the perk. So the easiest way is just as a freebie, all the players will get that perk. So basically, everyone just kind of needs to decide, do they want to play something that's stabby, shooty, spelly, or miracle-y?
So I put most of my points as spirit of mind. I think that's what I need for doing miracles, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think spirit's the main attribute, right?
Some of the things to think about is, obviously, if you're going to do something like, say, spell casting, then you're going to need to make sure you spend the perk for, spell casting. A good perk is going to be Realm Runner, because as you go through different realms, it's going to be able to help reconnect your equipment and your tech to the cosm that you're going. So just kind of keep that in mind as well, too, since we know that you're going to be going to different realms, cosms. And then source books is new, like perk specific, and new perks, new spells. So make sure when you pick, you look through that. And then for just kind of like gaming ideas, just like to picture the scenario. Obviously, everyone knows fantasy, so fantasy is pretty clear. One of the things about Isle is the dichotomy of Isle is light and dark. And so the light side of Isle is more Lord of the Rings, where the dark side of Isle is low fantasy, Game of Thrones. So it's just there's an actual physical difference as you enter those two sides. If somebody wants to be from Isle, they actually can be from the dark. That's fine. It doesn't it just means that you're coming from the dark side and fighting the war. It doesn't necessarily make you a dark evil character. Isle, I think their magic axiom is 24, which means it's the highest. And for them, magic, they don't need technology because, why do you need chemotherapy to cure cancer when you can cast a spell?
What does it mean, the prerequisites for the Chaplain's Aurora? Okay, cool. What's faith 1 plus adds? What does that mean?
So faith is a skill.
Oh, okay.
So you need to at least put one skill point, one add to
Okay.
faith.
Okay.
God, I feel bad about the character sheets. I didn't even think about that.
All right. Beginning characters have 16 skill points, but at least one of those must be spent on an add for the reality skill. No skill may have more than 3 points assigned to it during character creation. A complete list of skills starts on page 77. So we have to take the reality skill.
You're
At
all
least one?
Yeah, you're all
Okay.
Storm Knights.
All right, so we get 16 points.
And it's also important to note that nobody wants to come from a specific cosm. You can also just be core Earth too.
So under axioms, what is social?
Social axiom is what allows the higher the social axiom, the further away from tribal caveman mentality you go. So there was, let's see if I can find it, but something that laid out what explained how that was.
Are we all clearance level alpha?
Yes. So just so everyone knows, basically when we start, and if we get into time, we'll kind of role play the background. But this team is pretty much going to be the formation of a new Delphi Council team, which means that for part of your character background, we're not going to role play your moment of crisis. So Tori, what a moment of crisis is in the game world, when realities have collided, there comes a point within the character where they're like, oh fuck, this is weird, something's going on, and they have to make a choice to whether or not they're going to inherently fight against this invasion, or if they're going to succumb to the new reality, or if they're going to be just kind of cool and support the invasion. And that's the moment of crisis. Okay. So for player characters, when they become Storm Knights, they go through that oh fuck moment, and then the player character makes that determination that they're going to do something to help, do something to fight, do something to stop the invasion. So that's how it kind of moves into becoming a Storm Knight.
Okay.
Are skills specific to the realms? And the reason I ask that is I'm looking at the different pre-gen characters, and some of them have streetwise and don't have willpower. Some of them have faith and don't have other things.
So some skills you do need to have from your cosm, from your realm.
Do you know, are those in?
It's probably going to be in the main source book.
I saw.
Or the
core rule book.
the core, not the core rule book, but the
Do you have any
Cosm
idea?
book?
the cosm book.
And you have any idea where that would be?
In new skill section.
Mine doesn't have it. Is anyone else looking at a Cosm book? Does anyone have new skills?
I have Storm Knight's new perks.
And then magic skills, but no. In the core
I have
rulebook,
perks in here, but not skills.
In the core rule
Skills
book,
are in the core book. Yeah, they're not in the.
And I found
the
a
Cosm
list
books.
of them that had like.
Starts on page 77.
Okay, so Barry, your earlier question for social axiom, what it means.
Yes.
So a level 0 is going to be individuals cannot cooperate or interact with one another.
Okay.
And then all the way up to 26, social structures seamlessly incorporate factions and societies, even of a completely alien nature. Psionic powers of all kinds manifest commonly without assistance.
How about spirit?
Spirit, on the scale of 1 to 30, level 0, gods, spiritually, faith, and the afterlife are not even concepts.
That's at low?
That's 0. So it's, just basic life, then done. And then at 30, all aspects of the dominant faith become literally true.
So
Gods-
cyber papacy is going to be really high.
Cyber papacy has a high spirit.
Yep.
So gods become both omnipotent and omniscient.
So it looks like for the skills, the ones that are in bold are ones you have to actually add skill numbers into, and then the rest you just go. The ones that aren't bolded in here, it looks like maybe you just go off of what your regular dexterity or whatever would be. That's the way I'm reading it. Unless you
No, I think the dark ones are the ones you can't use untrained.
Right, that's right. Like you would have.
Was
to,
that what you said and I didn't hear
Yeah.
you?
So you'd have to put skill numbers into it to train yourself. Is the way I'm understanding. I may be wrong.
And sadly, I don't I'm still learning the new rules of Torg too, so
And theoretically, we have how many skill adds?
20, 16.
16, yeah.
16.
Actually 15 because you have to put one in reality.
And reality does what?
The reality skill, so reality is spirit based. The reality skill allows Storm Knights to resist the transformation that accompanies invading axioms and remain connected to her own cosm. Having adds in reality allows soaking damage, because remember you guys taking damage was spirit, reality. Allows soaking damage to reconnect and other world bending abilities that may come up within gameplay. Oh, Shan, you think about something cyber papacy?
No, I'm trying to read this character sheet because a perk just says gain spells, and in parentheses it says diminish, enhance, scrambler.
So those are the 4 that she started with.
There's 3.
I'm sorry, the 3 that she started with.
Yeah,
That's the same thing for the psionics.
But I was
here.
trying to check if the perk gains spells means I can do all of them, or I have to pick. Is what I'm looking.
No, I think
Oh.
you start with those 3 is the way I was reading it. Because if you look on the back, you have the expansion advancement track. So looking on the back for your advancement track, I have my first advancement is a psionic ability called Strangle. So obviously those other 3 would be there, otherwise it would say, would list the other 2 to come in. So I think if you took that character, you start with those, is my guess.
So then I'm more than that because I have Scry, Pathfinder, Taunt, Unarmed Combat, Divination, Dodge, Alteration.
You're talking here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the advanced track. So you start with those 3, and then you can buy these as you level up.
Okay.
And you're saying we have to start with Realm, or we don't have to, but we should start with Realm Runner for one of the perks?
No, it's not, because I want you to be able to use the perks to create your character. As the game goes on, though, start looking at Realm Runner because you will be going to different realms. But you may not be able to grab that perk immediately to fit, the character build that you want to do.
Gotcha, okay.
And hopefully, game time, we'll spend maybe about, I'm guessing, 3 weeks, 3 Sundays. But, there's 7 cosms, so it's, the campaign should extend
It
quite
should
a
take
bit.
a minute.
Yeah. And then Shan can run D after that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this does have Alteration, Divination.
And you're skilled in them?
Well, they're interaction skills.
Okay.
And then, just throwing out ideas, one of the things I always thought, but for me, because I always like kind of rangers and whatnot, a human beast rider out of the Living Land, I thought would be kind of a cool, just throwing that out there. Not that I'm going to favor it or anything, just,
What are you being an elf?
Yeah.
I think you have to take the perk for Dragon Rider, right?
It's either Drake Rider, or it depends on which one you want. Like you can do a young Drake, which is Drake Handler, maturing Drake, which is Drake Rider, and then a Drake, which I don't know what that doesn't have like a specific.
So before you do, though, just remember we are going to other realms. Like when you go to Tharkold, demons are going to love to bend over a young Drake and just have their way with it.
I don't think I'm going to pick it, but I thought it was cool.
It's a cool idea. Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see, like a young Drake gangbang with a bunch of techno demons. They would dig the hell out of that.
Yeah, all right. So I'm sure your magic one is written the same way. When the side takes this perk, they may choose up to 3 powers. Oh, I'm sorry, may choose any 3 powers. So the starting is 3.
It's funny because thinking running, Living Lands was always just going to be, I think, a little bit tough. But I was thinking if I was going to play something, I actually probably would play a Dinos Warrior.
They're pretty powerful.
They're kind of cool.
So looking at the perks, there's spellcraft, but then there's like specific magic underneath the spellcraft. Do you pick? It looks and it doesn't say prereq is spellcraft. So are those like just specific spellcrafts you're picking?
So I think
Okay.
you can do, obviously your spellcraft, but then you can also do specific ones. But again, when I was just trying to read through earlier to kind of get an idea for magic, I didn't dive into it.
Okay. How frequently do you get to add perks?
So you will gain possibilities, basically experience points, and then you can, as you gain your possibilities, then you can spend them.
Okay.
So it's not the possibility tokens in gameplay aren't your experience. And after each act, we'll do an award of possibilities, so that way the players can build as you go along.
Okay.
So I'm assuming magic is probably going to work the same way as psionics. So under psionics, there is a skill that drives the psionics, and then it has a number. I'm assuming that is the quote-unquote value, meaning the skill add plus attribute.
Correct.
Because there's no way that you could take that many skill points at the beginning.
And same thing with miracles too. And then just so it's on the podcast, Tori, you are an amazing artist, and you did work for this group on this D&D game for the characters. Hoping, fingers crossed, you'll be able to do the artwork for our player characters for this game.
Yeah, so the cast comes off mid-March, so I should be back to working on drawings at that point.
And are you accepting like commission work from anybody out there who's looking to have artwork done? And if so, how would they get hold of you?
Yeah, I am open to commissions. I do have an art Instagram. It's Tori, Tori, 2 underscores, Ramaha, Ramaha.
Awesome. And I think the entire audience would be, or is going to be impressed when they see your artwork. I know that we were when you showed us just bored doodles.
It's amazing.
I think I'm gonna go with a cyber witch from Cyber Papacy. But
Sweet!
I'm gonna do it myself instead of use this one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I brought those just to people kind of get an
Yeah.
idea for.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna use this as kind of like a crutch to go off of. But I'm thinking, I'm leaning towards Monster Hunter,
Okay.
Monster Slayer.
So nobody wants to be a werewolf, huh?
It was. I thought about it. I was kind of going back and forth.
It was tempting, but I didn't want to.
Corruption.
Yeah, the corruption. But it's like if we were all playing in just that cosm, I felt like I could maybe get away with it. But I didn't want to go to another cosm and then have like a reality problem affect. Like I don't know if that would affect the role to prevent corruption.
I think the reality skill, so if you have a good reality skill, definitely helps with that.
I just didn't want to die or get stuck a werewolf or something,
Right.
and then ruin the whole game stuck as a wolf.
It just
Well,
sounds
there
like-
is in the original game, I don't know if in the original story, I don't know about now, there is a werewolf that is stuck as a werewolf that runs through, and he is a major character through the books.
Cursed.
Cursed.
Yeah, I didn't want to be cursed. It sounds fun, but I didn't think I want to try that out as my first character.
No, that makes sense. I think it'd be fun, though.
I was
Yeah.
kind of thinking the same thing. I was like, do I want to go for it and just go all out and try it? But it seems like there's going to be corruption test after corruption test.
So I didn't read that. What's included in the corruption test for it?
I didn't look that hard.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
just
didn't
kinda
either.
That's your
through it.
job.
Well, she's on the page.
So to be able to return back to normal requires the beast to kill, which may mean a corruption test.
Didn't it say you could voluntarily turn into a werewolf, but then it happens involuntarily? At the
You
Yeah.
can't go back until you've
So-
killed someone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't go
Yeah.
back until you've killed someone. So you have to if you don't want to have to kill someone, you have to avoid
13.
I think
turning into a wolf. But during the full moon, you're just condemned to killing someone once a month.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're fighting the hunger or whatever
So
it
the
is.
transformation can be triggered on purpose, taking a full turn.
And I think we only
It's
have
a
to
free
make
reaction.
the corruption tests if we're in the Auror's Cosm, right? Or do we have to make those corruption tests outside of Auror's?
Let me read it.
All right.
Reverting back to normal isn't immediate. Werewolf chooses when to change, which also triggers a corruption test.
Okay, corruption and transformation. Since corruption seems tied to Auror's world laws and corruption perks are an Auror's group, one might conclude that the influence of corruption could vanish if a Storm Knight transformed into another reality. Unfortunately for the Delphi Council, that is not the case. Auror's is where corruption is encountered directly, but it isn't powered by the Cosm's axioms or world laws. Corruption traces back to the influence of the void, which makes it universal, similar to supernatural evil. Corruption perks remain unaltered when a character transforms. Points lost to repurchasing charisma are lost forever to the void. Corruption is eternal. It seems like they made it tough to try to play a werewolf outside of the
Outside
Cosm.
of the cosm, that's what made me not pick it. Because you're gonna fuck yourself trying
gonna
to
get
leave.
stuck.
Yeah,
Which is,
I want to play a dog for a whole campaign.
so where's the game mechanics for a corruption test?
And then I also considered, well, if I don't want to be a dog forever, I'll be a vampire. But then you've got bloodlust the whole time, and I was like, eh.
Okay, so under new perks, under corruption, it says corruption perks are technically free. They aren't purchased and don't count towards against the number of perks the character has when calculating the cost of purchasing other perks. The only cost is paid when the character perishes and awakens into a new life as a servant of the void. So it looks like, though, that anything that's going to spark a corruption check doesn't give. I think it's going to be up to the GM to determine what the difficulty number is going to be, but that also should be able to spend possibility to add to it.
So you could essentially make it a little easier to not.
To be forever a
Remain a dog,
werewolf,
yeah.
right? And that makes sense that you can spend possibility because, I mean, you guys, Storm Knights, have the, with the reality skill, the ability to bend that reality to be able to, grant the possibility of what could have been. So, I mean, I'll try to read more about it, but that's the way that I'm seeing it right now.
So if I don't take the dodge skill, then what does my dodge defense become?
Your base attribute.
Oh, which
It's
is
a dexterity.
dexterity? Okay.
Yeah,
So unarmed must be strength, so same thing for melee?
correct.
Okay, so... And toughness is equal to your strength. All my
Maybe a
defenses are 5.
necromancy.
That's awesome.
Necromancy sorcerer.
Sweet. Are you going to do a necromancer?
I think so, yeah. I was going between that or the principal magic, which is like creating sounds, mystic shield, absorb magic, dispel magic.
So when you do your perks, I want to say you end up becoming permanently corrupted and going over becoming a stormer if you take 5 dark side perks.
Okay.
Well, then I start with
Do
2
I have
perks.
to take dark side?
You start, yeah,
You start with 2 plus the one you gave us.
Yeah.
right. But for being a necromancer, I think that's
Any prereq.
it might be that you end up having to be a dark side perk for a prereq. So just
Okay.
make sure.
Got it.
And again, like I said earlier, you can be from the dark and choose to fight.
Gotcha.
So that's not, there's not a game mechanic.
Yeah.
The only game mechanic is if you, continue to build and become like, a lich,
Right.
then you're going to be a stormer.
It's not showing any kind of prereqs like this is create zombie. It just has. It doesn't say anything about prerequisition.
Okay.
How many wounds do we start with?
You get 9 shock and 3 wounds. That's what mine says. Oh, you have 10.
Well,
in
the
yours.
shock says it's equal to your spirit. Because you hear a spirit plus
Yeah.
any bonuses
Yeah.
from perks, so...
So wounds is 3, and then shock is based off of the spirit.
Okay.
Yeah. Right now I'm just picking spellcaster and then elven.
And then
sorcerer.
defeat would be, let's see what our defeat is, 117. Oh, okay. So defeat is same as wounds.
What race are you going, Victoria?
Elf.
An elf necromancer.
Yeah.
Okay, so for elf, you have limits on your skills. So charisma, 15 is the cap.
Okay.
Dex is 15, mind 15, spirit 14, strength 11.
15, 15, 15, 14, 11.
Yep. You have the graceful racial ability. So when rolling directly against dexterity, treat the test as favored. So a favored test is a perk, spell, or ability that has the favored immediately after rolling the first die of a test and assuming it's not a mishap. You may discard that result and roll again, but must accept a new result.
Okay.
So when rolling against anything with dexterity, you can treat as favored.
Okay. Any of the skills,
No.
or
you-
just as a dex check.
No, ones so unskilled test based on dex don't count.
Okay. Gotcha.
Only those that you have at skill point adds in
Okay.
will count. You can ignore up to 4 points of darkness penalties because you have dark vision. And then magical affinity. Elves are born and bred of magic and suffer without it. Anytime an elf is in a realm with an axiom magic less than 12, any fatigue results cause an extra point of shock. So the example says, an elf wearing plate mail in a low magic zone would suffer 4 shock if a fatigue result came up on the conflict line. So let me pull out the ones where... Okay, so Tharkhold is 12, you're good. The Cyber Papacy is 14, you're good. Isle is 24. Aurorsh 16. The Nile 14. Pacifica is 4.
I'm looking at that one right now.
Core Earth is 9. And
What's this for?
the Living Land is 1.
Okay.
What are the numbers for?
The magic axiom because she's playing an elven creature which is inherently magical. When she's in the Living Land, Pacifica, and Core Earth, she kind of gets fuckered.
So the bonuses that armor gives us add to our dodge, right? Is that what it is?
Toughness.
Toughness, okay.
I was trying to find for a corruptness check. My guess is it's not going to be super difficult because they want... I mean, Torg is meant to be campy. Torg is meant to be outrageous. It's meant to where you find out that your real dad is a galactic asshole and you fall from a space antenna thousands of feet, land on your friend's ship and your sister picks you up and you fly away safe. It's meant to be that way. That's a Star Wars reference, Shan. I know you're a Star Trek gal.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, like, I appreciate that other people like Star Wars, but I don't get it.
See, up until some of that, I thought you were talking about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh.
Yeah.
I kind of did a little bit too.
Barry, you know what I meant, right?
I know exactly what you meant.
I did eventually figure it
We're talking about
The initial
Chewbacca.
The initial part of your dad was because what's his name's dad is like a god or is like.
That's right, huh? It just shows, the influence that Star Wars has on
So we need a
popular
book?
culture. And then as you guys are building your characters too, because we're not role-playing your moment of crisis, in your backstory, come up with that so that way we can, just kind of role-play how you're recruited and approach into the Delphi Council. And then we're also playing on the drama deck, the preferred actions that came up. If you met that, you got a possibility token. In reality, you just draw a new card. So
There you go.
We're playing that a little bit more
Because the
freely.
card, and the card's not a bad thing because you can potentially get possibilities effectively
Yes.
from the cards.
Yes.
So that means we burn through the cards better. And I think each of the cosms adds more, not more in the sense we'll keep stacking, but if we go to, say, Aurorsh, we're going to add the Aurorsh deck to the standard deck, so there will be more options.
Yes. And the only one that we don't have, I think, is Pan
And
Pacifica.
Pacifica, yeah.
Okay, so Dave,
Yeah.
do you have a character name yet?
Yep. His name is Elias Strode.
Race?
Human.
Male?
Uh-huh.
Age?
Age. He's 34.
Home cosm is Aurorsh or
Aurorsh.
Core Earth?
Or Roche.
Okay, so you came down
I came
off the
from
bridge?
Gaia. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, when the bridge came out.
When you came down, did you come down as part of the invasion or to combat the invasion?
I came to combat the invasion.
So is anybody playing somebody from Earth that end up kind of getting transformed? You could still be a Storm Knight, but basically transformed into the new reality, or is everyone coming from their cosm?
I think I'm from my cosm.
Okay.
Coming from my cosm.
Okay.
Same.
Okay.
I come from the cyber papacy cosm.
Okay.
So from your cosm.
Yeah, from my cosm.
Just want to say it differently. Greg, do you want to go over with us what each of the things is once we're kind of closer to it? So we'll all go over movement, running, toughness, armor, those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, since Dave's done with his, I kind of want to. And so I mean, I want to be able to get, because this is obviously still new for me too, and
Yeah.
and now that we're playing with 6 new Cosm books, get an idea of what like your perks and whatnot, so I can read them as well, so we're caught up on it. So
Cool.
what perks do you have, Dave?
I have Share Possibility,
That's the freebie.
and then Saculum Chaplain, and then I have in the Torg Eternity book I've got Miracles.
Did you pick out your miracles?
Yeah. So I've got Ward Enemy, Crucifixion, Infernal Judgment, Bless, and Healing. And so I spent 700 on my Monster Hide Duster, and then my...
What kind of monster what was it from?
It's probably for some nightmare. Maybe Gospog,
Okay.
Gospog, skin,
Okay.
which is where the Gauntman, releases these monsters along the rivers and stuff, and they're pretty common, so it's probably easy that I could get something like that. I've probably killed several of those, or been in the process, or, part of a team that maybe killed some, and ended up having this black dust, and I wear a black flat-rimmed hat as well. And I've got the woolen vestments, the one-piece long kind of gown-like vestments underneath with the silver cross that hangs down from my neck.
So, for those that don't know, Gospog are kind of like the basic generic monsters. The part of the Alliance, so when the Gauntman peered into Earth and saw all the possibility, that energy that was here on Earth, he knew that he could not come down and conquer it by himself. So he reached out and formed an alliance with other High Lords, and part of that was he is to supply the High Lords with Gospog, so basically monsters. So each Cosm, each High Lord has its own form of Gospog.
So Pan Pacifica was the zombies, and there's going to be different ones throughout, or are they all?
So yeah, so Pan Pacifica, Kanawa made theirs.
Oh,
And so, like in gameplay, the Delphi Council has identified a 7th Cosm, but they don't know what the hell it is. And it's now makes sense when reading the Day 1 adventure for Pan Pacifica when it says, just beware, players will probably not survive. Well, that was kind of the reason why, because no one escaped Day 1 to warn the Delphi Council.
gotcha.
That was brutal. Those yokai are brutal creatures. But it was kind of cool, Tori, because like in the final game that we did with that, it just felt like, that it felt like a movie where, just everything was getting stacked and the players were trying to run and escape, and, player characters are falling, and at the point where you think they're going to make it and escape, they didn't.
Oof.
It was pretty dramatic. I actually had a lot of fun on that Day 1 adventure. So we have Dave and Victoria. Barry, what are you thinking or leaning towards?
I'm going to be the race.
Okay.
I basically appear human, and I come out of the resistance fighters.
So for the race is basically a human race out of Tharkholds, and the way that I kind of see the Tharkhold realm is post-apocalyptic combined with Terminator 2029,
Yeah, I kind of see that with demons thrown in.
with demons thrown in. So Moscow is like the opening scene of T2, where
That is basically what I see as well.
and Vic, have you decided if you're going to be from the light side or the dark side yet?
I feel like since I'm a necromancer, I have to be from the dark side.
It
I know
feels-
that I don't have to,
But
but
it just feels like you
It
have
is.
to.
yeah. It also, some of these, like animate skeleton, it says if it is cast in a dark or pitch black location, not that, it's dark side's not that, but then it's casting is favored.
Oh,
Some of the stuff is based on being in the dark.
I gotta admit, I kind of like it.
So, as far as the structure of my religion goes, as far as sin goes, yeah, sin cannot be tolerated in Elias's eyes, but sin is relative, right? So, I mean, there's like biblical sin, which breaking of the commandments, right? According to the Catholic religion, right, which is their spin-off of old Catholicism. But the major goal of the Saculum chaplain is to rid the world, core Earth and Aurorish, of the monsters that have invaded, right? So in the effort, if killing, of something that's impure and evil, wouldn't be a sin. It'd be someone acting outside of those confines, like, hey, look, these are innocent people, right? Why are we killing them, or something like that? That's where probably you would have a problem with it.
Okay.
So I mean, it should be pretty easy to, it's basically a paladin, He's like lawful good,
Well,
kind of.
I mean,
Because the Saculum priesthood believes that God punishes sinners. So when bad things happen to places, then it's assumed that, you must have pissed God off and now he's punishing you, right?
okay.
But there can be sin within the ranks, so they oversee military units to bolster them in combat against the horrors. And, sin would be, maybe attacking one's own, instead of attacking, fighting against the horrors, So, the priesthood makes sure that the people that they oversee are righteous in their motivations and actions and stay within those guidelines.
How radical and extreme do you see it, or for Elias? I mean, consuming too much alcohol, going to a brothel, doing a bump of coke.
I think, like, if someone consumes too much alcohol and you end up getting sick, you obviously stray from the path, and now you're sick as a consequence of you consuming too much, overindulging, right? God is punishing you for your own sin.
Okay, but you're not going to kill
I'm not
him.
like, hey, I'm not going to kill you because you drank too much.
Okay.
No,
Do you know what?
that'd be intense.
That'd be more cyber papacy.
Yeah, probably.
Which one?
Cyber papacy.
What was cyber papacy?
Oh, you sin, therefore you die!
That's literally like you get points for killing witches.
Yeah.
I was just looking at that.
Yeah, magic in the cyber papacy, there's a bounty on all
That's concerning.
magic users.
Yeah.
Especially with my route.
Yeah, piety achievements, so virtuous acts are like respond with amen. Pray to the one true God. Pray on your knees. Attend a mass. Read this week's sermon, but then you get to the bottom and it's join the church police, denounce a family member, kill a heretic, burn a witch, capture a heretic, and join the clergy.
Burn a witch.
You're not having issues with me.
Burn 'em.
No, I'm a witch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
gotcha,
so this
gotcha.
is
You're like-
this is a problem for me.
So what? So I guess the question is, so you're a witch hunter,
a
right?
cyber witch.
Cyber
You're a cyber witch.
And thou shalt not suffer a witch to live is
Don't see a problem with it.
the motto of the cyber pope.
But aren't you a lycanthrope? Aren't you a werewolf or something like that? Or you were just thinking about it?
I
No,
was
we're
talking.
we're
I
both
was
you were
thinking
talking
about
okay.
it. I just didn't
I
want
said
to
we
get
got a
hooked.
lycanthrope in the group. That might be a problem.
Which I think would be so
Yeah.
cool, but I get it. I really do.
What is beta clearance?
So beta clearance in the Delphi Council, you have different clearance levels. Those clearance levels are basically
Okay.
rated off of your experience.
So alpha is above beta, I would imagine.
No, alpha is the intro.
Oh, okay.
So as starting off as as a Delphi Council team, you all have alpha clearance, which means that you are briefed into ops that are alpha level cleared.
Gotcha. One of the spells has beta clearance as a prerequisite.
Okay, so beta clearance is I believe it's 50 experience points.
Okay.
And then there's gamma clearance. So like, Quinn Sebastian, Lady Peloton, they would all have gamma clearance.
crazy spell. It's skeletal barrier. The caster must have a bone, preferably a human bone, which makes casting the spell favored. The caster points the bone forward, to the right, to the left, then behind, and throws it on the ground. On a success, the bones multiply into a whirring barrier around the caster that provides +3 armor with full body protection. The bones do not impair sight or other senses, and if a melee weapon or unarmed combat attack against the caster misses, the attacker takes 12 damage.
Oh shit.
Ouch.
Yeah, but I'm not big enough for that yet.
All right, so we have then.
So Dorians, they came from. Did they come from? Did they speak English or would they speak like Italian or something? Is their native language? What would be their native language? You know this kind of stuff there.
I'm sorry.
Victorian
The
period.
Victorian era is
speak
English.
Yeah, it's
They
English.
speak English.
Is that their native
without
tongue English?
doubt.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Queen Victoria.
Okay. All right. English. All right.
That's why our names are so awesome.
Speak English in last.
One of the longest reigning monarchs in history.
She was.
So we have Resistance Fighter of the race from Tharkold, a Cyber Witch from the Cyber Papacy, an Elven Necromancer of the Dark Side from Isle, a Sacculum Chaplain from Aurorsh. Tori, what are you thinking?
I think I'm gonna go with the Monster Slayer from Aurorsh.
Okay.
It's giving Buffy.
Yeah.
Buffy vibes.
See, I was thinking kind of more like mixing it with the alchemy, then it's more of like The Witcher.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Even better.
You can make some pretty awesome stuff with that alchemy. I was reading that. I was like, dude, there's some really cool things you can make with alchemy.
Yeah, I was thinking of mixing that and Bulletsmith.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, every time I take the, how often do we get? How do we get new perks? Do we
You-
spend experience on them or something?
Expend experience on it,
Okay.
yes.
Because every time I take the miracle perk, I get one additional miracle. So I could take bullet. There's one called.
You can keep taking the same perk.
Yeah.
There's
Well-
there for spells, psionics, and miracles. There's one that
That's how you
every
get-
time you
Yeah,
take the perk, you get one more.
So you get more
If I
spells.
take the
and stuff.
cyberware perk twice, or each time I retake the perk, I get $5,000 more worth to spend on.
Yeah, cult
Yeah.
tech works that way as well.
I have something called Blessed Missile, so if I take that, I can bless 500 bullets. They become holy bullets. They do it +2 extra damage against evil things. That's pretty cool. I don't have that one now, but it's kind of cool.
But it's coming.
Yeah. Pretty neat. Yeah, I've got Crucifixion. Crucifixion's crazy. Like these steel spikes shoot out of the priest's hands and pierce the target's hands and feet. Pin them up against trees and stuff, and basically crucifies them. Does a ton of damage. Does 16 damage, and AP4. It's just all
Wow.
brutal.
That is brutal.
Well, I kind of see like miracles as being like kind of a rare thing. It's not like I do it, just walk around doing it all the time. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I only perform miracles in like really extreme consequences or situations.
Well, and I think there also, if I'm so, is there a certain axiom that needs to be met, axiom level for the miracle? So, like for example, in Pan Pacifica,
Crucifixion
spirit's only 10.
Axiom level is 16. So I don't know what the axiom level means. Does that mean that whatever cosm we're in, that's what the
Right.
level has to be in order to be able
Yes.
to do it?
So, like in Pan Pacifica and Tharkold,
Mm-hmm.
the spirit is only 8 and 4.
Okay.
I
So what
don't-
happens when we try and do it in those? Do we end up like taking a risk or something like that?
So if you do something that is outside of its axiom
Mm-hmm.
and you attempt it, there's a chance that you disconnect from reality.
No, okay.
And so you have to roll to reconnect.
Okay.
And so it's possible that if you don't reconnect, when you disconnect, the reality that you're in consumes
Twists or-
you.
Oh, okay.
Actually, you become transformed
Oh well. Okay. Into something of that.
into
cosm.
something of that
I
cause.
might, so if we're like living lands, I might turn into a Stegosaurus or something.
Well, or and not necessarily that,
Triceratops.
but basically Cro-Magnon. But say like the Cyber Witch, who has different cyberware on it, because there's no cyberware in the living lands, you would transform into potentially
A plain human.
a plain human with parts of your body missing.
Oops. A lot of these axiom levels are high though.
Yeah, this character I think has a eye.
These are all like 10, 12,
Thing.
17.
For yours?
Yeah,
Yeah, mine too.
really high.
My magic
But-
is 24.
But that's also why Realm Runner is going to come in handy, and why the reality skill is going to come in handy.
What are we spending? Dollars?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
What is the multi-target penalty? Is that if I'm attacking more than one target, the character ignores the first 4 points of multi-target penalties
Yeah.
on unarmed combat or melee weapon attacks.
So penalties. The character suffers -2 for each target affected. Each target suffers damage or effects normally based on the levels of success when you're going multi-target. So basically, if you're trying to shoot Shan and Victoria, you get -2 on your rolls.
Okay. A medium blast worth of foes within 5 meters using missile weapons. That would not be multi-target then.
No, that's
just
a
a
area,
blast.
area of effect.
So it's only if I'm trying to attack 2 people at the same time.
Correct.
So it's -2 for each. It sounds like I can attack 2 people in a single round.
That's what it sounds like.
Pull our resources and buy a hot air
The character ignores the first 4 points of multi-target penalties on unarmed or melee weapon attacks. Only that.
Okay. So if you're basically, going in swinging, you can swing on.
And is it -2 for 2? So or -2 for each of 2. So is it -4 for each?
Yeah, it stacks. So that way, if you're trying to attack in one round, every player here. So Victoria, 0. Shan, -2. Tori, -4.
-6,
Dave,
okay.
-6.
So I'm looking in the aisle under dwarf. They have a necromancer perk, but it just says prereq is aisle and 3 or more spells from the necromancy list, and no spells that don't appear on that list. It doesn't say that it have to be a dwarf, where there's other things that have like elf as a prerequisite.
Yeah, if it lists prerequisite race, then that's what you need to be that. But if it doesn't, you should be golden.
And those stat points go quick.
Yeah, they do.
The 16 one?
Yeah, no, the
40?
the 40.
40.
We only have 15 to distribute, with your 5 and everything.
Because one has to go in.
You have 16 because one of them's reality to start the game.
Oh, so I have an
So you
extra
have
point?
reality plus 15
He's
more.
talking about charisma, dex, mind.
I'm talking about the
spirit.
stats.
The
Yeah,
first
40.
Yeah, the 40, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, and you have a minimum of 5, so everything automatically gets 5. So you have
Yeah, so
like,
you're
what,
stuck with 15, yeah.
15 points to.
Yeah. I got a 5 strength, 5 dex, and a 6 charisma.
What do you have a crazy number in?
I've got a 13 spirit and 11 mind. 13 was the max I could take as a human. But I don't envision this priest being all yoked out and all like, muscular and huge because he spent all his time, studying basically and worshiping, performing miracles.
Yeah, and then obviously you can buy, increase your stats through.
Like with experience that we get or something.
Yeah, it feels like Torg did a pretty good job with balancing that out. And then when everyone gets finished, we'll kind of start going through. But start thinking about your backstory too, Dave. About like how you end up, coming down and. With like just some of your character backstory. So when we get to it, we can. I guess. So what my hope is once we finish up character creation, basically role play the formation of your guys' team, and then next week launch into the campaign.
Or we're not starting today. We're just making characters.
Well, like I said, I would like to start get the team formed.
Right.
So yes, we are, but the actual campaign will launch next week.
How do we determine our
Toughness is strength.
My toughness says 8, but my strength is 6.
You have armor?
Oh, yeah.
2 on your arm?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got +2 armor, so.
As far as you know, if we just take the equipment they have, it should correspond to the correct starting for the pre-gens.
As far as I know, I can also give you like an equivalent of the Tharkolds.
What I knew what the dollars was. I'm just looking at it thinking, this makes sense.
Add up the. I mean, how many perks do they have? Is that the
2.
And add up the skills.
16.
Yep.
So I'm going to assume that those are right, so I can actually take them.
So am I understanding this correctly where, like, I can take Spellcraft as a perk, but then within the perk of Spellcraft, there's, like, sub-perks?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it says, like, I can take Spellcraft, Cosm's, Cyber Papacy, so that goes for me. Characters from many realms cast spells. The sorcerers of Isle, the witches of the Cyber Papacy, the occultist of Orosh, and even stubborn dabblers from Core Earth. This is the trajectory that allows them to do so. Magic is channeled in many varied ways, but all require the same core skills. So alteration, apportation, conjuration, and divination. But then there's Magister, prerequisite spellcaster, knowledge of at least 5 spells. So I have to somehow
That's
acquire.
a different thing, yeah.
Right.
That'd be a later one that you would buy on top of that would be a new perk you would add. In most cases, because they're identical for psionics. So to buy that, you have to have some prerequisite, and the prerequisite for mine is, I think there's 2 other perks you have to have ahead of time.
Yeah.
You fuckers are really making me want to look over the mechanics on psionics, magic, miracles.
We are going.
I'm gonna
all
make
around.
sure that I've got that nailed down, so you're not gonna have to remember it. Like, I'll have it on hand.
I'm not. So the armor stacking rule is very difficult for me to figure out. So it keeps saying the highest, you take the highest one. So why would a character have leather armor and a stab vest? Why would you have two different armors if you only take the higher one?
Is there a tech difference on them?
Yes, Axiom 8 versus 22.
That would be why.
Okay, so if you go in an area and one fails,
Correct.
you still have the other one? Okay.
Correct. So we guys are kind of going, I'm going to breed out some of this. Contradictions. Whenever a character uses tools or abilities that are beyond the axiom limits of a realm or their own reality, or are dependent on world laws from a different cosm, she creates a contradiction. In a mixed zone, the action must exceed the axioms of both realities. Reality ignores contradictions most of the time, but eventually it does notice and causes the actor to disconnect from his own reality. In game terms, determining if reality notices the contradiction and disconnects the character is called a contradiction check. So basically, if you're attempting a magic spell in a cosm that has a low magic axiom, like Earth or Darkhold or Severed Papacy, then depending on the axiom rating of the spell, that is a contradiction. It's contradicting reality. But being a reality rated character, you can do that, but there is the potential to disconnect. So contradiction checks are usually part of a normal skill test. Disconnection occurs if the user rolls a 1 or a 1 to 4, depending upon the nature of the contradiction. So in the case of a 1, a roll of 1 causes disconnection with the tool or the ability is higher than the character or the land, but not both. So basically what that means is if you're using or attempting to use a tool that is higher than both what your home cosm axiom is and the world axiom is, then that's like a double 1. That's when it gets gnarly.
So we're making a skill check, and it's really only if we roll like a 1 or 2 or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, or a 1 to 4 if it's higher than both the world and the character.
Okay. All right.
So in a disconnection, disconnected characters cannot cause contradictions. So you can't attempt to contradict the world law. They can't take actions or gain benefits from tools that violate the axiom of the realm that they're in. They begin to get an intuitive feel of how things work in the new reality and slowly forget concepts native to their own. When an Ord, so an Ord is an ordinary person that's not reality rated. When an Ord disconnects, immediately roll a 1. On a 1, he transforms into the dominant reality. Strange as it may seem, items, concepts, spells, and miracles that aren't supported by the realm just don't work and provide no effect or bonuses whatsoever. So if you bring an AK into the living lands, it goes click. If you disconnect from it and you roll a 1, then it may transform into an atlatl.
Do you want us to avoid buying cross-realm things? So, as a Tharkold character coming to Core Earth, I can buy on Core Earth and Tharkold, but not, for example, Isle.
Correct.
Okay.
So it says that concepts become incomprehensible, while spells and miracles might be alien concepts beyond the user's imagination or ability. So, again, if you're a priest and you're praying to your god, but you're in a realm that has a low spirit, and you disconnect and are starting to transform or starting to absorb the new reality, that concept of the higher god that higher purpose that you're following is no longer a concept that's just even imaginable. It's beyond comprehension because you're transforming to that new reality. Okay. And then worst of all, disconnected reality rated characters cannot spend possibility, including possibility granted from hero cards or the drama deck.
So you want to spend those possibilities when you make your check. Make sure you make your check.
They cannot soak damage. This is, this is obviously very dangerous for Storm Knights, since disconnection often happens in the most stressful of times when possibilities are precious. So you reconnect. A disconnected reality-rated character must attempt to reconnect to her reality as a free action at the start of their turn. Reconnecting is a use of the reality skill and is modified by the type of zone the character is in when he attempts to reconnect. So if you're in a mixed zone, so there's some areas of Earth where there's both realities of two realities. There's a reality storm, but the realities if those two realms are present. If you're in a dominant zone, which means then that is the dominant place of, so that reality is is dominant in the area. There's not many places where there's mixed places, or not many hard points where core Earth is still related, and then pure zones. So like Orosh, during the year one, Orosh was not expanding like the other cosms, but what the Gaunt Man did was he was making his territory pure. And so it is purely Orosh in India, in Syria, in Afghanistan, Pakistan. It is 100% pure Orosh, and there's very little hard points of Earth present there. So if you're trying to connect in a pure zone, it's -8.
We playing in India by chance?
You will be visiting Orosh.
No, that's cool. So when you make a skill check, like I've got a 3 in faith. So if I've got to make a faith skill check, how does that work?
So basically, when your skill level, you add the bonus skill of either the skill or the attribute, and add your modifiers being the total final outcome. So Tori, so on your character here, this is the bonus chart. So if you make a die, so when you have to go to make a skill check, you roll a d20. So that's a 3. You go to what you rolled, and then the modifier is -6. So that's what you. So right now it's really horrible. Most difficulty numbers are like average is going to be 10. So on this one was a 14.
So 1.
So you add +1. Right. Now with Torg, if you roll a 10, you get to add. So you keep rolling. So if I roll 10, it's 10. Plus 17 would be 27. So bonus is +9.
Okay.
And then the game is basically just the only dice that you need will be d20s and d6s.
So get us stats, like movement, run, those kind of things.
Move is equal to your dexterity.
Straight up dexterity.
Plus any bonuses from perks and all that kind of stuff. And then your run is 3 times your dexterity. So I've got a movement of 5 and a run of 15.
Thanks, Dave.
Total toughness.
Toughness is strength, and then
Flat out.
Just flat out, and
Plus
then
armor.
plus any armor, perks, cyberware that you may add.
Is an armor perk different than armor? Because there's total toughness and something called armor.
Yeah, so your total toughness is your strength, and then your armor toughness is what's calculated everything on.
The bonus.
So like I have leather armor, so it's a +1, and so my strength is an 8, so it adds to the 8 to a 9. And then if you have an armor perk, it could add to that.
Okay. So I need to write my armor number down and then add it to strength to get total toughness. They should be the other way around.
Yes.
And we get 1,000 money.
Yes.
What is the currency? Is it dollars or is it just?
That's why I said money.
I think it's going to be. I
monies?
think it's going to be dollars because
Yeah.
we're Delphi
the
Council.
rupees in India
I
still?
think
or?
it said dollars
Pesos?
in here.
Yeah,
Groupies.
pesos?
It just says
Mexico?
price.
It's groupies.
Just
Oh,
money. Huh?
what's the parentheses for the price?
That's the tech level, right, or whatever it is.
No,
No, it
there's
says
some-
price 250 in parentheses 12.
Yeah, because there's some in the.
Oh, I forget what
here.
that was. That was something about. It was either availability or it was an axiom level.
Oh, I did see that. Okay,
I
so.
think it's like for tech, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, because there's like the tech is there,
Oh,
and
there
then
it is.
price
Oh.
has this, and then
Right.
I did see a point where it was like it's.
Feel like
Availability
it's
problem.
availability.
I want to say it's an availability issue.
But that for this, the item availability has a modifier of +2 down to like -6, and these are all like.
Is that for in-game stuff when you're trying to
10
acquire
and
stuff?
14
And that's
11.
yeah. I was thinking that and beginning game. So like beginning game, like Shadowrun and Cyberpunk both say if it's over blank number, you can't get it at the beginning of the game. Well, he's looking that up. So Dave, you know these. What is dodge?
Dodge is your dexterity
Straight.
plus all these
Plus
are
perks.
Yeah, plus any perks that you might have that gave you bonuses or something.
Okay.
Okay, so there's general gear. General gear is items that Storm Knights, can find adventuring cosm to cosm. So equipment availability. It's easy to buy a laptop in Pan Pacifica and just about impossible to find one in the Living Lands.
Mm-hmm.
The Game Master should decide if finding a particular item is possible at all. If it's easy, the purchase just happens. If their markets on the item isn't easily found there, let them make a streetwise roll to find the black market. Common items have no modifier. Uncommon are -2. Rare items are -4, and so on.
That's still not a parentheses number.
If you go to general, go to the next page where it just shows the general gear, it's got price of ammo for courier.
So the parentheses is going to be the DN, the difficulty number.
To find it, right?
If you're trying to find it.
Okay,
Okay.
that's in-game. That's an in-game mechanic, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that ghillie suit had a 14 in parentheses.
Gotcha. Also, it
Almost
has-
everything I looked at had a 19 because
Yeah.
Tharkold's.
Darkhold. Yeah.
Prices are given in U.S. dollars.
So under dodge, the next one is melee defense.
Melee defense?
Mhm.
Or just melee?
Melee.
I have melee defense written down there on the side.
Oh,
So-
okay. I just went down.
Does
the ones
anyone
in the
know what
book.
that
I
is?
think
It
that
looks like
one.
it might be
It's
dex.
the same as your strength, I think.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's Dex plus whatever.
Because
you
this one shows the dex is 8, the melee defense is 8, and then unarmed defense. I think because unarmed combat is probably +1. That might be why that's a 9.
Yeah, that's how I
And
kind of read
what
it
about
too.
dodge? Yeah.
Dodge is a +1 here, down here on your other skills, and so that adds to the dex to make it a 9.
Well, I
So
read
if
the
you-
book
whatever
there.
your-
that
if you put
I know
any
the
extra
unarmed
skill
and the
attributes into dodge,
toughness were
then it can
both
go up.
strength.
Yeah.
So dodge is your dex plus your dodge stat.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder-
Melee defense is
I don't know. You might want to look that up. That's not.
that's what I'm asking Greg.
Yeah.
I haven't had time to go through the rules, so we're looking together.
Just look under the first couple pages of the Storm Knight section. It'll tell you, it kind of takes you the steps to make it a character. One of the things are like the defenses and stuff, and it goes through each one.
Your character's dodge skills plus any bonuses from perks or equipment. Dodge is the total foes must equal to hit the character at range.
Melee defense.
Unarmed is your unarmed combat skill plus any bonuses.
Oh no, that is so it's melee defenses. That's why.
Oh, melee defense.
So
Okay.
your melee weapons plus any bonuses from perks or gear.
Oh,
Foes
so
must get
melee
a-
weapons italics. It means it's the skill. So you can use the skill on train. It probably goes off of whatever your base stat is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's based off of your what. Your
So melee is
skill
dex plus any skills in melee weapons plus
Right.
any bonus.
So-
okay?
Yeah.
So melee weapons.
Unarmed is your dex plus your unarmed skill level
Bonus.
plus any bonuses from there. All right, and then shock is
Shock is your hero's spirit plus any bonuses from perks or other sources, and is the amount of shock you can take before being KO'd.
okay.
So
I think I have everything that's on that character sheet written on here.
Barry,
Yes,
what is your character's name?
Maxwell Garrett Elite.
Maxwell Elite,
Maxwell Garrett Elite goes by Max.
and you're the race.
Is
The
dexterity,
race,
so-
yes.
Character's age.
He's going to be 44
So he's been a resistance fighter his entire life.
entire life.
And then, what perks?
I have share possibility, psionics, occult tech.
And what psionics do you have?
I have telepathy, copycat, both from the core book, and a version from the Tharkold book, page 46.
And what occult tech did you buy?
I have the Zan Slashers, Mark II, the Chode Frenzy Jack, and the Chode Rabbit Jack Mark II. And I ran out of money, or else I was going to grab the one that lets me to stick into ports, do the R2D2 thing.
Did your character just come down to Earth, or did your character come down during the invasion?
No, I think I came later. I'm feeling like a group from Earth made an incursion into Tharkold. And I don't know how well known it is amongst the race, but we are an incursion race, or we were basically, Tharkoldu attacked somewhere that had humans, or connected to humans, and brought us to Tharkold. We are the enslaved race by the demons. We are not, as far as I understood reading it, we're not indigenous.
No.
But I don't know how much we know that. So I'm thinking for him, he was blown away that somebody said, we're not from here. We're from across this bridge. So that was the point. To me, that was his point. He watched the last one of them die, and he says,
So the way that I see that, and let me know if this fits within
Yeah.
your jive. Part of a team that came into Tharkholds was led by this guy.
"Yo, that son of a bitch." Yeah.
Yeah, this guy. So he introduces himself as Mr. Jones.
Okay.
And so what they found out and what they introduced, because the race, like you said, is they're not having classrooms. They're trying to survive. And so there's no history. This is just the reality that you're in. It sucks. I don't want to suck demon dick, and I'm going to fight so I don't have to put it in my mouth. And that's kind of like how you grew up, is fighting demons.
Yep.
And when this contingency went to Tharkholds, it was actually a Delphi council team led by Mr. Jones. And the whole point of that was to look for allies within the varying cosm. At that point, especially being one of the leaders in the resistance, it makes sense that you were a contact person when they went there. And then that's where you learned from Mr. Jones that the world that you're living in is actually part of an invading force that goes from world to world to world, and that's how you were brought to this world of demons.
Did any or all of Mr. Jones' incursion team survive?
So no,
No to which? Any or all?
So Mr. Jones survived,
Okay. So I envision
but he's only one.
Right, maybe I'm the one. So I feel like seeing this, learning there's more out there, and then watching them die at the hands of the demons, the Tharkoldu, I would at that point have had my moment.
And that makes perfect sense.
And then at that point, my thing is I needed to get Mr. Jones back. I helped him get back across the bridge into his reality and went with him.
So what makes sense is your moment of crisis occurred at the bridge portal, where at that point, all of a sudden, what he's saying was real. He's not just suffering from delusions. And so you had an opportunity, or he at least left with, come with me.
Yeah, and then I followed.
Okay. So that actually makes a bunch of sense.
Okay.
So
And you're right around what I was thinking anyway. So
Okay.
yeah. So either he went back to let them know everyone died, or he helped one of them escape and get back. And now I'm here because my feeling is pretty simple. If I can figure out how the invasions happen, maybe I can figure out how to go the other way and kick them off my world.
So yeah, and then that makes perfect player motivation, or sense for player motivation. Shan,
I'll try to answer all your questions.
what is your character's name?
Azrael.
Just known as Azrael, or is our last name?
For now, just Azrael. I didn't think that hard.
Smith.
Jones.
Jones, right? Related to Mr. Jones, actually. You are this world's Mr. Jones.
And human,
Yes.
female,
Yes.
age,
30.
and from the cyber papacy.
Yes.
What perks did you take?
I tried to find share possibility. It's actually grant possibility, the one where you give possibility to other people.
Yes.
So grant possibility.
That's what it's actually called?
Yeah, it's actually
Okay.
called grant possibility, not share. Cyberware
Nice.
and spellcaster.
What spells do you have?
I picked stun, fear, and slow. So I figured I'd be more of a support character because I can stun, fear, or slow other characters, so that way everybody else has a better chance. Because I'm still trying to clean this up, but like I have a weapon that is a riot stick and it's non-lethal and just hurts.
So in a fight, how would you defend yourself?
I've got armor, but it's reflect armor.
So what cyberware do you have?
It is called the Hexer Mark II. So the Hexer Mark II, an upgrade to the Hexer 1. The Hexer 1 ignore, or like if you get some backlash from failing spells and it causes you shock, but you only have to take half shock if you fail a spell with the Hexer Mark 1. The Mark II works like Mark 1, negating half the shock from a failed spell. In addition, the amount of shock negated is automatically applied as a bonus on the character's next spellcasting test.
Oh, sweet. Okay. So you have the Hexer. What else?
That's it. That cost all my whole 10,000
Okay.
money.
You spent 10 grand. Oh man.
Yeah. When you take the cyberware perk, you get 10,000 money to spend on perks,
Ooh, that's
or
nice.
on cyberware.
Cyberware.
Cool.
And there's there's $2,000 ones. Like if I take the Bellevue 2020 Cyber Eye,
saw that
fine
one.
and tracking become favored.
Oh, nice.
So there's like other ones, but I felt like if I took the spell casting perk, I'd want the cyberware that assisted me in the spell casting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. So one thing, like in the cyber papacy, what is a belief over there is flesh can be contaminated because we're human beings, so we make mistakes. We could
Flesh
We are
is
imperfect.
flawed.
flesh is flawed, but metal is pure. It cannot be flawed. It is what it is, and so because of it being a pure form of the pathway to purity, that's why cyberware and the cyber papacy is so precious, and it gets rewarded. And so
And a lot of the cyberware is connected to the God net,
right,
which is being overwatched by Big Brother, basically. But apparently, like as a Storm Knight, mine is hacked, so the Cyber Pope can't just watch me.
so there's, and also in the cyber papacy, there is a series of basically hackers called Nodders, so coming again from the land of Nod, that are in the Godnet, and so they can operate within the Godnet undetected because they're like super deckers that know how to manipulate and run the Godnet without being detected by Jean Malraux's Godnet security. So the only thing, Shan, and again, I just want for survivability that you can defend yourself and you can take out enemies.
Well, I've got a riot stick, which is a melee weapon, so I can hit with it. It's just not lethal. I could also instead choose something called a power dagger if I wanted. Like I said, this is a work in progress. right now.
Absolutely. And I love the idea. I really do. I just want to make sure that you're not going to get, get deaded.
Like I'm also wearing armor, which gives me +2 to defense. But I was also because I picked stun, fear, and slow as my
As your spells,
spells. But there's not a whole lot of the cyber papacy spells that are like.
attack based.
Well, yeah, like there's one that's lightning, except one of the prerequisites was that I had to have like at least 2 or 3 points in conjuration, and that wasn't a skill I picked. Because some of the other ones, like I think stun and slow, I needed points in divination or alteration.
Make this.
They're higher level things. They may have also had beta requirements.
Oh, he'll jump on
too.
the table. Yeah.
No, it didn't have beta requirements, but
Just all those other things.
it's like I had to pick between something. Like I can get rid of the skill find and the skill scholar, so I can take those points and put them in conjuration or something, and then I can get lightning and conjure lightning.
Okay.
So that I'm still like I've been.
And if throughout the week, if you look at a different combo that seems to make a little bit more sense, or a route that you want to go, definitely change it. I don't mind, but like I said, just based off of what you were describing, I just wanted to make sure that there's survivability for the character.
Just don't kill me then. It would be entirely your fault. But that is up to you.
But I like killing characters. Actually, I shouldn't say I don't like killing characters.
Playing Palladium then or something,
I like presenting tough situations, and I'll let the characters kill themselves by making dumb choices.
What's your idea of like adding survivability? You're talking like having a melee spell?
Well, I mean, the best defense is a good offense.
Okay.
Being able to put your enemy down. That's why we don't shoot to harm. We shoot to
take
kill.
talk.
Huh. What's that?
Putting your enemy down, so take talk.
I also wanted to be like a support character, which is why I picked 3 that would, like, if I stunned, slowed, or feared a character, it would make it easier for everybody else to do whatever they were doing.
Agreed. I mean, we'll definitely see how it plays out. I mean, see how it plays. So, again, just questioning out there for how are you going to be able to survive, and so that's
How do you survive this long?
yeah. Victoria, Vic, what perks do you have?
You have a character name. That's how you normally start.
Still don't have
Well,
a
I'm-
character name. I gotta figure it out.
See, I somehow knew that.
So my race comes with the graceful, dark vision, and magic
You're an
affinity.
Right.
And then I took spellcaster, necromancer,
And what spells did you grab?
animate skeleton, create zombie, armor, fear, and bind entity.
And then you are elf. So elves are Ireland are where like the central or elves
Dear
are
no
at,
no.
and then the north end of Ireland is the dark side, so like more Belfast area. Just so we all know, so right out here is Ireland. Like Northern Ireland is where the like more of a stronghold of the dark is. Belfast area, and we will be starting the campaign in Isle in Sligo Bay, so which is going to be very close to more north below Belfast, but that's where we'll be starting. And you are of the dark.
I changed it to Fear, Stun, and Lightning.
I feel better with you having lightning. How old is your character?
I'm gonna say 200.
Is that young in elf years?
They live to about 1,000, so yeah, like 20ish.
Okay.
That's what I'm kind of.
Are you noble?
No.
Are you
So.
are you lowborn? Or are you bastardized?
Yeah, I think so. That's a good one for necromancer. I feel like that makes sense.
It does make sense because in Isle, magic is the equivalent of tech. But the thing is, in order to be able to harness magic, you have to study, which means access to universities, access to books, access to lore, and peasants don't have that. But yet, that's why nobles have access to that. And you being a bastard noble, it makes sense. And also kind of makes sense why you might be a little bit bitter, like, fuck this house, I'm going to raise dead. Totally makes sense.
What would it be the equivalent for Ireland? My last name's Green.
What is the grasslands? It wouldn't be snow and it wouldn't be sand. What was the grasslands one for Game of Thrones?
Oh, what are we talking about? The realm, you mean?
What
No,
would
but
the,
Jon Snow,
the bastard, the
Yeah.
snow version of
Not surname, what's the other name?
For what?
For Game of Thrones,
They
the
have-
names for the bastard children. Snow was for northern.
Yeah.
Sand was for the
Dorne.
grasslands.
Flowers.
There you go.
Flowers. All right, last name's Flowers.
And you
figure
said-
out
Well,
what
it
the
depends. Like there's a lot of them.
And actually, I kind of like that, so it makes sense if you're going to go that route.
What was something that would be equivalent to some green land? What was river?
Riverlands were rivers, so Westerlands you could be like hill.
All right, hill.
So we're starting, and we'll be starting off like coming in for Sligo. How do you want to be from that area? And
I would-
actually, out of character, it gives a very easy hook for you to be approached.
I was thinking because I have to be from Isle, but I was thinking of having like
Tori.
trying to have
Red sauce or white sauce?
an accent coming
Red
in and
sauce.
going because
Red.
I'm like coming into this area, so I'm starting to have that because also I have horrible Irish
Black
accent.
olives
But
and mushrooms.
I can like
Already ordered.
pull it out every once
Every
in a
once in a
while,
while?
and then it seems like I'm just trying to.
I thought I was weird
assimilate
for
a
like
little.
liking that.
Do you want to be from Isle, or do you want
white
to be
sauce for that or red
Core
sauce?
Earth transformed?
You go
Because that
sauce.
happened a lot too.
So it says that to be elf, I have to be from Isle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have to actually be from the Cosmo of Isle.
Okay, I think it makes sense for me. So let's go ahead and have when you came down, your character came down to the area of Sligo.
Okay.
So modern day County Sligo, and so you're like Sligo Bay. So yeah, you could also go last name Bay,
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Bay.
and so like Sligo Bay is where basically insertion's going to be.
Okay.
Tori,
Yes.
what is your character's name?
I do not have that yet.
Okay,
I'm probably just gonna use a random name generator.
female.
Yep.
Character's age,
28.
and you are from Aurorsh.
Yep.
Human?
Yep.
What perks did you get?
The one you gave us, and then Bulletsmith, which comes with Slayer's Gun, and then Alchemy.
And what do they grant you?
So with Alchemy, I get 3 potions, which I chose Elixir of Life, Demon's Breath, and Iron Sheen.
Now, alchemy allows you to create these.
So yeah, I can create and charge magical potions. So I can either drink them, give them to allies, or use them against others.
And what does Bulletsmith do?
So that one's kind of just like a fancy gun. So I can create special ammo. I think it was 3 different ones.
And what ammos did you choose? Or do you have to choose them?
So I can choose 3 of the specialized rounds.
Have you chose those yet?
I have not.
Okay. Text me which ones you
Okay.
chose, so that's fine. Is your character religious? So the Sakalam is kind of like really is a dominant theme in Aurorsh. The church there in Aurorsh is very
board.
it's almost theocratic in the sense of how much influence that the church does have. And the reason why is the monsters that are in Aurorsh, the chaplains believe that they're the ones that can that can kill them, demolish them, banish them. I can see monster hunters actually creating basically like their own sect who did not go through the route of the church. I could also see monster hunters being a specific arm of the church.
Tori's a monster hunter.
Yeah, I'd say mine probably falls under just a whole different, apart from the church.
Okay.
Not part of it.
And that's fine. And then how does your character feel about the church, though?
I'm gonna say probably not too fond of it.
So that's going to be for fun gaming, role-playing. So your order, it's not influential as the church, but it is big enough to be for people who who have fallen out of grace with the church or who don't want to buy into the church doctrines. They will order, but you are the Monstrum Venatorum. And you guys are not opposed to the church, so you're not at conflict or war with the church.
Okay.
You just don't subscribe to its tenets.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay. Dave,
Yo.
how does your chaplain feel about the Monstrum Venatorum?
What is it? What is that?
So the Sekelum, they believe that they're the ones who are able to defeat and banish and destroy the monsters set forth by the Gauntlet.
They're so set in their own doctrine that what they don't realize is that their faith will inevitably consume them as well.
So, and for
They don't
those
see
that
that.
have stepped away from the faith or don't necessarily buy into, church doctrine or have fallen out of grace with the church, but yet still want to fight, so they actually have a guild, basically like their own league called the Monstrum Venatorum.
Okay.
And so basically they're a guild of monster hunters that don't belong to the church. So how does Elias feel about them?
I mean, I think any ally, with a common goal against a common enemy is just fine.
So enemy, my enemy is my
Yeah.
ally? Okay, sounds good. All right, Vic, what is your character's name?
Iara. Or no, David.
Iara Bay. Tori, what is your character's name?
It's Evangeline.
Ooh,
Goes by Eva.
I like it.
I like it too. Last name?
We'll go with Francis.
Evangeline Francis. Okay, so just quick check. Everyone has, so I have the information for all the players, names, where they come from. What we're going to do then is we'll go ahead and close out this character creation session, unless anyone has any last minute questions before we start.
I guess I'm not really set on my background. Are we gonna work on that on the next session?
Yeah, so
Okay.
what we'll do for the next session is what my intention is for the next session, it might be a short one, but we will go ahead and go through character backgrounds, give our audience that idea, so let them feel like they actually are there and know the history of the character. We'll role play into the group, and then we'll go ahead and move into the next campaign. So that way our audience members are right there from the beginning. They know the characters' inceptions, and we'll bring them with us on this campaign. All right, so with that, we'll see everyone next week for character introduction.
Thank you for joining us on another NCRP Productions podcast. We couldn't do this without you, so please like and subscribe everywhere we're found, including YouTube, Facebook, Anchor, Google, Apple, Spotify, and other great podcast sites. If you'd like to help us continue making more content, we'd love to have your support on our Patreon. And if you have any feedback for us, please feel free to comment on our podcasts or email us directly at ncrpproductions@gmail.com. And we'd like to give a special shout out to our current patrons, our Siegson Employees of the Month, FS, Michael H., Michael P., and our Breaker of Seals, the Jones, Frank H., Christopher C., Matthew K., and the Lab. Trademarked. Thank you all. We truly, truly appreciate it.